Imagine if the Bible, as we know it, were only a fragment of a grander divine narrative, missing intricate details about the creation of the world, the lives of the patriarchs, and the eternal laws ordained by God. The Book of Jubilees, preserved in the Ethiopian Orthodox Bible, claims to restore these missing pieces, offering a cosmic perspective that transforms our understanding of God's plan for humanity. Known as Little Genesis, this ancient text spans 50 chapters, retelling the stories of Genesis and Exodus with profound additions, revelations about sacred time, angelic governance, and a divine order that binds heaven and earth. Yet this remarkable book was excluded from most Christian canons, branded as too controversial by early church leaders. Why was it rejected? What truths does it reveal that were deemed too radical for mainstream Christianity? In this extensive exploration, we delve into the mysteries of Jubilees, uncovering its unique insights into creation, the patriarchs and God's eternal laws, and investigating the reasons it was sidelined, revealing a narrative that challenges and enriches our understanding of biblical history. The Book of Jubilees opens with a retelling of the Genesis creation story, but it expands this account into a cosmic blueprint that encompasses not only the physical world, but the very structure of time and the universe's spiritual order. According to Jubilees, when God created the heavens and the earth, he didn't merely bring life into existence. He established a divine framework that governs every aspect of creation, from the orbits of celestial bodies to the rhythms of human worship. At the heart of this framework lies the concept of sacred time, embodied in a precise solar calendar of 364 days, meticulously divided into 4 seasons of 91 days each, comprising 13 weeks per season. This calendar, overseen by heavenly angels, ensures that sacred days like the Sabbath and festivals remain fixed, aligning human life with God's eternal will. They will err concerning the new moons, and the seasons will be disturbed if they follow the lunar calendar. Jubilees warns, Jubilees 6:38, highlighting the spiritual peril of deviating from this divine system. This solar calendar stands in stark contrast to the lunar calendar adopted by many ancient cultures, including the Israelites, which Jubilees considers a corruption of God's original design. The lunar calendar's variability, with its fluctuating months, causes festivals to shift, disrupting the divine harmony intended for sacred observances. There will be those who observe the moon, but they will make an abominable day the day of testimony. Jubilees 6:37. The solar calendar's precision, with its 52 perfect weeks, ensures that the Sabbath and festivals fall on the same days each year, reflecting God's unchanging order. This system bears a striking resemblance to the Ethiopian calendar, which divides the year into 12 months of 30 days plus a short month called Pagum of 5 or 6 days, suggesting that the Ethiopian Orthodox Church may have preserved a remnant of this ancient divine structure. The calendar's alignment with natural cycles, such as the equinoxes and solstices, further underscores its cosmic significance, tying human worship to the rhythms of the universe. Jubilees reveals that on the first day of creation, before the earth took form, God created angels to govern the universe's operations. These angels, categorized as angels of the presence and angels of sanctification, were assigned specific roles, from regulating the movements of the sun, moon, and stars to overseeing natural phenomena like rain, wind, and seasons. For God appointed the sun to rule over the day and the seasons, and the angels to keep its course. Jubilees 2:10. These celestial beings ensure that the universe operates in harmony with God's will, maintaining the cosmic order that humanity is called to emulate. When humans deviate from this order, such as by adopting the lunar calendar, they disrupt this harmony, inviting spiritual and physical chaos. This theme of alignment with divine order permeates Jubilees, setting it apart from the more terrestrial focus of Genesis. The text's emphasis on sacred time extends beyond the calendar to the broader concept of divine cycles. Jubilees introduces the idea of Jubilee periods, cycles of 49 years that serve as divine resets, restoring harmony to creation. These periods, rooted in the Sabbath principle, offer rest for the land, release for the enslaved, and renewal for the spiritual order, reflecting God's intent to maintain balance in the universe. The solar calendar's role in ensuring the correct observance of these cycles underscores its importance, as even a single day's deviation could disrupt the cosmic rhythm. Jubilee's focus on this precise temporal structure suggests a worldview where time itself is sacred, a divine gift that humans must steward faithfully to remain in communion with God. The angelic governance of creation further enriches Jubilee's narrative. The angels are not passive observers, but active participants in God's plan, ensuring that the sun, moon, and stars follow their ordained paths. They also serve as messengers, delivering God's laws to humanity and guiding the righteous in their observance. This angelic involvement highlights the interconnectedness of the spiritual and physical realms, a theme that recurs throughout Jubilees. The text's insistence on the solar calendar and angelic oversight challenges readers to reconsider their understanding of time, urging a return to the divine order established at creation. By aligning with this order, humanity can fulfill its role as stewards of God's creation, participating in the cosmic harmony that reflects His glory. Jubilees reaffirms the six-day creation narrative of Genesis, but elevates the Sabbath to a cosmic institution, sanctified by God as an eternal law binding both humans and angels. He blessed the seventh day and made it holy for all ages, a sign of His works. Jubilees 2.1. The Sabbath is not merely a day of rest, but the cornerstone of time itself, woven into the fabric of creation. It serves as the foundation for the Jubilee cycles, periods of 49 years that act as divine resets, offering rest, release, and renewal for the land, people, and even the angelic realm. These cycles reflect God's intent to periodically restore creation to its intended harmony, a concept less emphasized in Genesis but central to Jubilee's cosmic vision. The Sabbath's eternal nature underscores its role as a divine institution, observed in heaven by angels and on earth by the righteous, creating a shared rhythm that unites the spiritual and physical realms. The text provides a startling revelation about Adam's role in this divine order. Immediately after his creation on the sixth day, God, through His angels, gave Adam specific commandments governing the Sabbath, purity, marriage, and worship. The angels brought to Adam all the creatures of the earth and sea, teaching him their kinds and the laws of holiness. Jubilees 3:1. Unlike Genesis, which focuses on God's direct interactions with Adam, Jubilees introduces angels as mediators who instruct Adam in God's eternal laws, recorded on the heavenly tablets, a cosmic blueprint containing all divine commandments. These laws form a covenant that Adam and his descendants were to uphold, suggesting that God's legal framework was established at creation, not introduced with Moses. This challenges traditional views, positioning the laws as timeless principles observed by the righteous from the beginning. The heavenly tablets are a central motif in Jubilees, representing God's eternal plan for creation. They contain not only laws, but also the destinies of individuals and nations, the timing of events, and the cosmic schedule that governs history. All that is and will be is written on the heavenly tablets. Jubilees 5:13. This concept elevates the laws given to Adam and later to the patriarchs as part of a universal order that binds heaven and earth, angels and humans, in a shared commitment to God's will. The Sabbath, as a cornerstone of this order, is portrayed as a divine institution that transcends human culture, observed by angels in heaven and intended to guide humanity's worship on earth. Jubilee's emphasis on the Sabbath extends to its practical observance, with detailed instructions on how it should be kept. The text specifies that the Sabbath is a day of complete rest, prohibiting work and requiring spiritual reflection, aligning with the divine rhythm established at creation. This strict observance is not merely a ritual, but a way of participating in God's cosmic order, ensuring that humanity remains in harmony with the universe's divine structure. The Jubilee cycles, which extend the Sabbath principle to longer periods, further emphasize this theme, offering opportunities for renewal and restoration that mirror God's creative acts. By observing these cycles, humanity can realign with the divine plan, correcting deviations caused by sin and disobedience. The angelic mediation of God's laws to Adam underscores the text's theme of divine-human partnership. The angels of the presence, described as God's closest attendants, play a crucial role in teaching Adam how to live according to God's will. This angelic involvement sets Jubilees apart from Genesis, where God interacts directly with humanity. In Jubilees, the angels serve as intermediaries, ensuring that God's laws are communicated clearly and preserved faithfully. This portrayal of angels as active participants in human history reinforces the text's cosmic perspective, suggesting that the spiritual realm is intimately involved in shaping earthly events. The fall of Adam and Eve is a familiar story, but Jubilees frames it as a disruption of the cosmic order, with consequences that ripple through history. After their expulsion from Eden, the text provides new details about their children, particularly Cain and Abel. Cain's murder of Abel is depicted as the first major violation of God's law, a sin with profound implications for humanity. Cain's sin was written on the heavenly tablets, and it brought judgment upon the earth. Jubilees 4:5. While Genesis focuses on the personal tragedy, Jubilees emphasizes its cosmic impact, portraying it as a breach that set humanity on a path of increasing corruption, necessitating divine intervention. The righteous line continues through Seth, Adam's third son, who is taught by angels to uphold God's covenant. Seth was righteous and walked in the ways of the Lord, keeping the commandments passed down. Jubilees 4:7. Jubilees portrays Seth as a pivotal figure in preserving God's laws amidst growing human wickedness, setting the stage for later patriarchs like Enoch, Noah, and Abraham. The text emphasizes the continuity of righteousness, with each patriarch receiving divine instructions through angelic mediation, ensuring that God's plan remains intact despite human failings. This focus on the righteous line underscores Jubilee's theme of divine preservation, where God maintains a remnant of faithful followers to carry out His will. The text also explores the spiritual dynamics of the fall, suggesting that the serpent's deception was influenced by spiritual forces opposed to God's plan. While Genesis attributes the temptation to the serpent, Jubilees hints at the involvement of Mastema, a figure akin to Satan who seeks to undermine God's order. This introduction of spiritual warfare adds a layer of complexity to the narrative, framing human sin as part of a larger cosmic conflict. The fall is not merely a human failing, but a disruption of the divine harmony established at creation, requiring God's intervention to restore order through the righteous line. Jubilee's account of Cain and Abel further elaborates on the consequences of sin. Cain's punishment, recorded on the heavenly tablets, extends beyond his personal exile to affect the course of human history. The text suggests that his actions contributed to the growing lawlessness that culminated in the flood, highlighting the interconnectedness of individual sins and collective judgment. By contrast, Abel's righteousness, though cut short, establishes him as a prototype of the faithful, whose obedience to God's laws sets a precedent for future generations. Seth's emergence as the heir of this righteousness reinforces Jubilee's narrative of divine continuity, where God ensures the survival of His plan through chosen individuals. The story of Noah and the flood is enriched with additional context in Jubilees, which delves into the corruption that necessitated God's judgment. The text focuses on the Nephilim, the offspring of fallen angels and human women, who introduced chaos by teaching forbidden knowledge and inciting violence. All flesh corrupted its way, and lawlessness increased through the Nephilim's influence. Jubilees 5:2. Genesis briefly mentions the Nephilim, Genesis 6:1-4, but Jubilees provides a detailed account of their role in corrupting the earth, portraying them as agents of spiritual and moral decay. Their actions, combined with human sin, prompted God to cleanse the earth with the flood, preserving only Noah and his family due to their righteousness. Noah's adherence to God's laws is a central theme in Jubilees. The text emphasizes that he observed the Sabbath and followed laws of purity and sacrifice, echoing those given to Adam. Noah kept the commandments of the Lord, offering sacrifices as ordained. Jubilees 6:3. After the flood, God establishes a covenant with Noah, reinforcing these laws and emphasizing their eternal nature. This covenant includes instructions for burnt offerings, moral conduct, and the observance of sacred time, foreshadowing the Mosaic law. Jubilees portrays Noah as a bridge between the antediluvian world and the renewed creation, tasked with restoring God's order after the flood's purification. The Nephilim's role in Jubilees is particularly significant, as it introduces the concept of fallen angels who actively oppose God's plan. These angels, described as having left their appointed roles in heaven, intermingled with humans, producing offspring that disrupted the natural order. Their forbidden knowledge, which included arts of war and sorcery, led humanity astray, creating a world of violence and corruption. Jubilee's detailed account of their influence underscores the text's theme of spiritual warfare, where divine and demonic forces vie for control over creation. The flood, in this context, is not only a physical judgment, but a spiritual cleansing, removing the corrupting influence of the Nephilim and restoring God's order. Noah's covenant with God is presented as a pivotal moment in Jubilees, marking a new beginning for humanity. The text emphasizes that Noah was instructed to observe the same laws given to Adam, including the Sabbath and purity laws, ensuring continuity in God's plan. The covenant also includes specific instructions for sacrifices, which Jubilees portrays as a means of maintaining holiness and atoning for sin. These sacrifices, later formalized in the Mosaic Law, highlight the text's theme of eternal commandments that govern both the patriarchal and Mosaic eras. Jubilees offers a vivid portrait of Abraham's early life, presenting him as a revolutionary figure who rejected the idolatry of his family. Raised in a household worshiping false gods, Abraham boldly destroys his father's idols, declaring, "These are nothing, I worship the one true God." Jubilees 11:16. This act, absent in Genesis, establishes Abraham as a radical defender of monotheism, setting him apart as the father of a chosen people. The text further claims that Abraham observed divine laws, including the Sabbath, circumcision, and purity laws, long before Moses. Abraham was taught by angels the laws written on the heavenly tablets. Jubilees 12:25. The covenant of circumcision, introduced in Genesis 17, is given cosmic significance in Jubilees. It is not merely a physical sign, but an eternal ordinance inscribed on the heavenly tablets since creation. This law is forever, and no day shall be passed over, for it is written in heaven. Jubilees 15:25. Abraham's adherence to these laws positions him as a pivotal figure in God's cosmic plan, bridging the early patriarchs with the later nation of Israel. His life is portrayed as a testament to the eternal nature of God's commandments, observed by the righteous long before they were formalized at Sinai. Abraham's rejection of idolatry is framed as a spiritual battle, with Jubilees hinting at the influence of evil forces that sought to keep his family in darkness. His act of destroying the idols is not only a personal stand, but a cosmic declaration of God's sovereignty, aligning with the text's theme of spiritual warfare. Abraham's subsequent call to leave his homeland and journey to Canaan is portrayed as a divine mission, guided by angels who ensure his path aligns with God's plan. This angelic guidance underscores Jubilee's emphasis on the interconnectedness of human and divine realms, where the patriarchs are active participants in a cosmic narrative. The binding of Isaac, or Akedah, is retold with a dramatic twist in Jubilees. The test of Abraham's faith is instigated by Mastema, a figure akin to Satan, who challenges God to prove Abraham's loyalty. Mastema stood before the Lord and said, "Test Abraham's heart." Jubilees 18:9. God's intervention, sparing Isaac, demonstrates Abraham's faithfulness and reveals a cosmic battle between good and evil. While Genesis focuses on Abraham's obedience, Jubilees frames the event as a victory over spiritual forces seeking to undermine God's plan, adding a layer of divine warfare absent in the canonical account. This narrative underscores Jubilees' theme of spiritual conflict, where angelic and demonic forces influence human events within God's overarching design. The Akedah's cosmic significance is further emphasized by its connection to the heavenly tablets, which record Abraham's faithfulness as a testament to his role in God's plan. The text suggests that this event was not only a personal test, but a pivotal moment in the spiritual history of humanity, demonstrating that righteousness can triumph over evil. The angelic intervention at the critical moment, when Abraham is about to sacrifice Isaac, reinforces the theme of divine protection, ensuring that God's chosen ones fulfill their destinies. The rivalry between Jacob and Esau is expanded in Jubilees, portrayed as a divinely ordained conflict with national and spiritual implications. Rebekah receives a prophecy that Jacob is chosen to inherit the covenant, while Esau's descendants, the Edomites, will oppose God's people. Two nations shall be divided, and the elder shall serve the younger. Jubilees 19:13, Sirafif, Genesis 25 and 23. Esau's rebellion is not merely personal, but national, with his descendants becoming a nation antagonistic to Israel. Esau's sons became a nation and oppressed Jacob's descendants. Jubilees 37:1. Jacob, as the covenant's heir, is taught divine laws by angels, including the Sabbath and purity laws, reinforcing his role as a keeper of God's order. The Lord appeared to Jacob and said, "I am the God of your fathers." Jubilees 27:23, Siraf, Genesis 28:12-15. Jubilees emphasizes that Jacob's actions, though deceptive in Genesis, align with a divine plan. His acquisition of the birthright and blessing is not merely cunning, but the fulfillment of God's preordained will recorded on the heavenly tablets. This cosmic perspective elevates Jacob's story beyond a family feud, framing it as a pivotal moment in the spiritual destiny of Israel. The text also explores the spiritual dynamics of the rivalry, suggesting that Esau's rejection of God's covenant was influenced by spiritual forces opposed to the divine plan, further reinforcing Jubilee's theme of cosmic conflict. The birth of Jacob's 12 sons is presented as part of a divine schedule, meticulously recorded on the heavenly tablets. Each son was born according to the Lord's appointed time. Jubilees 28:12. Their births align with the sacred calendar, emphasizing their predestined roles as heads of the 12 tribes of Israel. Reuben's sin, which disqualifies him as firstborn, elevates Judah as the leader and Levi as the priestly tribe. Levi was set apart for the priesthood forever, to offer sacrifices and mediate before the Lord. Jubilees 32:17. Levi's role is framed as an eternal mandate inscribed on the heavenly tablets, predating the Levitical priesthood formalized under Moses. Each tribe is portrayed as a guardian of God's laws, tasked with preserving the divine commandments for future generations. The Lord said to Jacob, "These are the laws for your sons, written on the heavenly tablets, that they may walk in them." Jubilees 29:6. This cosmic responsibility elevates the tribes beyond mere inheritors of land, connecting their mission to the eternal order governing creation. Jubilees underscores that the 12 tribes are not just a family, but a divinely appointed nation, chosen to uphold God's covenant and prepare the world for his ultimate redemption. The text's detailed account of their roles and responsibilities highlights their significance in God's plan, portraying them as active participants in the cosmic narrative. Joseph's story is enriched with angelic guidance and cosmic purpose. From his sale into slavery to his rise in Egypt, angels protect and guide him, ensuring he fulfills his destiny. The Lord sent angels to guard Joseph, for his life was precious. Jubilees 34:21. His success is not due to human ingenuity, but divine orchestration, fulfilling a prophecy to save Israel from famine and set the stage for their enslavement and eventual exodus. Jubilees portrays Joseph as aware of this destiny. God will visit you and bring you out of Egypt to the land sworn to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Jubilees 46:9. His life is a pivotal chapter in the cosmic plan, recorded on the heavenly tablets, leading to Israel's deliverance. The text also frames Joseph's brothers' betrayal as a cosmic transgression. Their sin was recorded on the heavenly tablets, for they transgressed the eternal laws. Jubilees 34:9. Unlike Genesis, which focuses on their personal jealousy, Jubilees emphasizes the spiritual consequences, linking their actions to Israel's future suffering in Egypt. Joseph's rise to power, however, restores divine order, preparing the way for the Exodus and demonstrating God's sovereignty over human events. The angelic protection of Joseph underscores the text's theme of divine guidance, where even human failures serve the greater purpose of God's plan. The Exodus is depicted as a cosmic event, with Israel's enslavement foretold on the heavenly tablets as part of God's plan. Mastema, the leader of evil spirits, intensifies their suffering, hardening Pharaoh's heart to test their faithfulness. Mastema sought to destroy Israel with harsh bondage and cause them to forsake their faith. Jubilees 48:9. The 10 plagues are not only judgments, but symbolic defeats of Egypt's false gods, proving God's supremacy over both physical and spiritual powers. The Lord showed that Egypt's gods were powerless before him. Jubilees 48:11. Each plague undermines the spiritual forces behind Egypt, aligning with Jubilee's theme of cosmic conflict between good and evil. The timing of the Exodus, on the 14th day of the first month, aligns with the divine calendar, reinforcing its place in God's eternal plan. It was written on the heavenly tablets that God would bring Israel out on the appointed day. Jubilees 49:1. This precision underscores Jubilee's emphasis on sacred time, portraying the Exodus as a meticulously planned event within the cosmic schedule, not merely a historical deliverance. The texts focus on spiritual warfare, with Mastema's opposition and God's triumph, adds a layer of complexity to the narrative, framing the Exodus as a pivotal moment in the cosmic battle for creation. Jubilees insist that the Mosaic Law, given at Sinai, was not a new creation but a revelation of eternal commandments inscribed on the heavenly tablets. These laws, observed by Adam, Abraham, and others, govern both heaven and earth. The law and the testimony were ordained before the world's foundation. Jubilees 6:17. The solar calendar, Sabbath, and festivals are central, ensuring alignment with God's rhythm. Angels observe these laws in heaven, underscoring their universal scope. The angels keep the Sabbath and festivals in heaven as the righteous do on earth. Jubilees 50:13. Moses, as the recipient, simply formalized these laws for Israel, restoring what the patriarchs already practiced. The text's emphasis on the solar calendar is particularly striking. Unlike the lunar calendar, which Jubilees considers a deviation, the 364-day solar year ensures that sacred observances remain consistent. Write down for Israel the law of the Sabbath and festivals, for these times are ordained on the heavenly tablets. Jubilees 5:2. Deviating from this calendar is seen as a form of disobedience, disrupting the divine harmony intended for creation. This focus on sacred time distinguishes Jubilees from the canonical Bible, where the calendar is less emphasized. The text's detailed instructions for observing the Sabbath and festivals highlight their role in maintaining spiritual alignment, ensuring that humanity participates in God's cosmic order. Jubilees presents Israel's history as part of a divine timeline, with their rebellion, exile, and redemption preordained on the heavenly tablets. All that will come upon Israel was written from their rebellion to their redemption. Jubilees 23:32. The text envisions a messianic kingdom where God's law is fully restored, and the righteous rule with the Messiah. Angels will execute judgment, binding Mastema and casting the wicked into the lake of fire. The Lord will send angels to gather his chosen and destroy the wicked, casting the prince of evil spirits into the abyss. Jubilees 23:29. This kingdom marks the culmination of God's plan, where the law is written on the hearts of the faithful, and evil is defeated forever. Jubilees 50:13. The restoration of Israel follows a period of tribulation, during which the nation is purified and renewed in its covenant with God. The time will come when Israel turns back to the Lord, and he will gather them from the nations. Jubilees 23:26. This vision aligns with prophetic themes in Isaiah and Jeremiah, but adds the detail that every event is preordained, unfolding according to the cosmic schedule recorded in heaven. Jubilee's apocalyptic vision connects the patriarchs' lives to the end times, portraying history as a unified narrative of divine redemption, where every event serves God's ultimate purpose. The Book of Jubilees' exclusion from mainstream Christian canons likely stems from its bold and controversial claims. Its insistence on a solar calendar over the widely accepted lunar calendar challenged established religious practices, particularly among Jewish and early Christian communities that relied on lunar reckoning. The text's emphasis on angelic mediation and eternal laws predating Moses may have been seen as undermining the centrality of the Mosaic covenant in traditional Judaism and Christianity. Additionally, its detailed accounts of spiritual warfare, with figures like Mastema influencing human events, may have been deemed too esoteric or speculative for broad acceptance. The concept of the heavenly tablets, which record not only laws but also the destinies of nations and individuals, introduced a deterministic view of history that could have been contentious. By claiming that the patriarchs observed the Mosaic law long before Sinai, Jubilees challenged conventional timelines of divine revelation, potentially threatening the authority of established religious traditions. Its apocalyptic vision, with vivid descriptions of angelic judgment and a messianic kingdom, may have further distanced it from mainstream acceptance, as early church leaders sought to standardize biblical texts. Yet the preservation of Jubilees in the Ethiopian Orthodox Church underscores its enduring significance. The Ethiopian tradition, with its unique calendar and reverence for ancient texts, may have recognized in Jubilees a reflection of God's original design, particularly its emphasis on sacred time. The text's survival in this tradition suggests that its insights were valued by communities seeking a deeper understanding of God's cosmic plan, offering a perspective that complements and enriches the canonical Bible. The Book of Jubilees unveils a richer, more cosmic narrative of biblical history, connecting creation, the patriarchs, and Israel's destiny to a divine plan recorded on the heavenly tablets. Its focus on sacred time, angelic governance, and eternal laws offers a profound perspective on God's will, challenging readers to reconsider the rhythms of their spiritual lives. From Adam's angelic instructions to the messianic kingdom's triumph, Jubilees presents history as a unified tapestry of divine purpose, where every event aligns with God's eternal order. If this exploration has ignited your curiosity about the hidden layers of biblical history, share it with others eager to uncover ancient texts. Join the conversation. Should we delve deeper into these divine laws and their cosmic significance? Together, let's continue exploring the profound mysteries of God's eternal plan.